Entertainment Thursday, and that is how we do it. Before we get back to the dancing aspect of the show, let's talk a little bit about a breath of fresh air. Yes, because clean air is all we need in this country. And also on Sunday, which is the 7th of September, is International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. That is what the conversation will be centering on. And in studio, I'm joined by Jaffas Opondo, who is the Executive Director, Environmental Compliance Institute. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you.
And also Jacob Omondi, Muungano wa Wanavijiji, representing community members who are vulnerable to air pollution.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You know, Kenya deals with a lot of issues to do with air pollution, and this also translates to health issues. It also translates to premature deaths. And we are looking at the data. I was looking at an article that was saying more than 26,000 Kenyans die every year due to household air pollution, according to a new presentation by the Clean Air Africa Global Health Research Group. That is dealing with household air pollution. We have not even touched air pollution from the transport sector because of using fossil fuels. Why do you think, if I may start with you, why do you think this is alarming?
I mean, it's indeed alarming because, you know, if you're talking about, you know, the statistics of deaths, number of deaths, you know, when you talk about it in the abstract by just mentioning the number 26,000,
yes,
it doesn't really make sense. But when you tie that down to, you know, families that have lost loved ones, the impact that is having, for example, on families where some of these people are basically, you know, breadwinners or, you know, supporting their families in other ways, what that impact means for the community, because the 26,000, it doesn't discriminate whether you're an engineer, whether you are, you know, a pastoralist, whether you are a doctor. All of us are affected. And therefore, the human resource that we lose as a result of air pollution-related deaths then means the economy is also losing a lot. Right.
So you have to look at it from a holistic point of view.
Exactly.
Because it's impacting on economy and even the workforce,
Exactly.
actually.
Yeah.
And also, there are cases of millions of Kenyans dealing with asthma, and this is attributed to matters to do with air pollution. Why do you think we should address this issue of air pollution now?
Yeah, I think now is the right time to address air pollution, because you'll find most of the time, especially in the informal settlements where there's so much informality, especially when it comes to access to basic services, it's quite unfortunate that majority of the people that are affected are from the informal settlements. That's Kibera, Mathare, Mukuru. So those ones are just an example. But I think there's also need of maybe seeing how best can we ensure that we address these menace around air pollution. So I think for me, this one is the right time to talk about this issue. Yeah.
You know, you've talked about people within the informal sector and the kind of air pollution that they have to deal with. How does it affect the aspect now, as he brought it, the aspect of their economic well-being?
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate that when it comes to the economic well-being, a majority of the people that will spend so much money when it comes to healthcare access due to the effects of respiratory diseases are people living in the informal settlements because of lack of enough policies around air pollution. In terms of implementation of these policies are very slow, and we're also looking forward to how do we ensure that we also work very closely with the government to ensure that everything communities are given special attention, especially people in the informal settlements, so that they can address this issue, because it's one big thing. And also we are trying to see how best can we ensure that we address this when it comes to waste management within the informal settlement, when it comes to even monitoring the when it comes to monitoring air within the informal settlements, what kind of air is felt in the informal settlement, and how best can we ensure that we also generate data out of this, so that, because we know data informs, so how best can we ensure that even the academia come on board to ensure that we also address this issue, because informal settlements are the ones that are majorly affected, and we are looking forward to also more partnership when it comes to addressing this issue.
Mr. Jaffers, when it comes to matters of compliance, and especially within urban areas, how would you rate our compliance as a country, especially in areas like Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Eldoret?
Allow me, before I answer that, to just also add a little bit on the issues, especially for the communities living in the so-called informal settlements.
Yes.
There are a lot of inequalities when it comes to air pollution and its impacts. And by default, those who live in informal settlements are more affected than those who live in other areas, especially in the cities like Nairobi. And that is so, for example, because in the informal settlements, people live there by reason that that is where they can afford. And that means they cannot afford clean fuels for cooking. So whereas somebody else will be cooking with electricity and maybe liquefied petroleum gas, in the informal settlements, those who can afford will be using kerosene or charcoal,
Yes.
which are heavily polluting.
Yes.
But you will be surprised that others are actually using, waste plastic and, these kind of things to fire, their cooking, and that leads to a lot of pollution. Again, in this sort of areas, issues like open burning of waste is very prevalent, because sometimes the city authorities do not then even collect waste in these sort of neighborhoods, and because people can't afford to pay private companies, they resort to burning this waste in the open. The worst scenario is perhaps where all of us, again, as a country and maybe as a city, are guilty, is that Nairobi, for example, all the waste that comes from, whether it's Runda or Karen or wherever, it ends up in Dandora, which is an informal settlement, so to speak. So all our waste is then burned in the open in Dandora, affecting large segments of communities. So talking about compliance, the challenge is there are lots of good laws, good policies, good regulations already in place at both the national level and also at county government level, whether you're talking about Nairobi or any other county in this country. The challenge we have is, one, perhaps the counties and the national government have very limited capacity for enforcement of these laws and regulations. Sometimes I think it's just, negligence. People are not just doing what they're supposed to do with the taxes that people pay. But also in, other instances, I think there is low levels of education and awareness. For example, among the, public transport sector or the industrial sector or even within the communities about open burning of waste, people are not aware that if you do this and then, the emissions go into the air, they actually affect you. So we need a lot of education and awareness around that. Yeah.
Pegging on what he has said, do you think really people really understand matters to do with air pollution, or they just think it's a distant problem? It's something normal?
Yeah, I think for air pollution is more of a, quote unquote, I can say it's more hidden, because people can't feel it at that time, but its effect is very high. So, because you see, like every year, we normally lost like more than 18,000 people due to, we normally experience like 18,000 premature deaths due to this effect of air pollution. So most of the time you'll find that people don't tend to even like focus on, okay, what kind of energy should we use? And now, like you can see, Kenya is also transiting to having 100% electricity. So which means when it comes to even the use of kerosene, the use of the use of candle to light the house. It will help in reducing health effect within the informal settlements, because these people living in the informal settlement are the ones who are really affected when it comes to this issue of healthcare access. So I think there's also need of improving our healthcare access and also awareness. How do we ensure that there's enough awareness? So for us as an organization, that's SDI Kenya and Muungano na Vijiji, what we stand for is to just ensure that we also do issues around urban development. How do we address the household effect when it comes to environmental conservation and air? And also previously, we as a team from Bridge City Initiative, we had to at least ensure that we are having series of campaigns and dialogue around having a clean environment. So we've been having like a series of cleanup from last week, and we are still continuing with the dialogues around awareness around having a clean and fresh air on our end.
All right. We are going to come back to continue with this conversation because it's a very pertinent issue, matters to do with air pollution, but we'll do that after this short break.
For one unforgettable month, football brought us together, and KBC was right at the heart of the action.
Kenya lead!
This journey was made possible because of you, our incredible partners, advertisers, and sponsors.
Full time, and Kenya have done the unthinkable.
You trusted KBC to deliver the passion, the energy, and the thrill of CHAN 2024 to millions of fans across Kenya and the region. From all of us at KBC, we say thank you for walking this winning journey with us. KBC, your true sports partner.
Composing himself, short runner. Oh, and there's a brilliant save from Ochieno.
Kenya's stars on the football pitch continues to shine brighter. The dedication, the self-belief and enthusiasm across the board is visionary.
Olunga against Shaju. And Olunga scores. Perfect penalty into the bottom corner. The keeper goes the wrong way. And Kenya are right back in this now.
Join us for the FIFA World Cup 2026 African qualifiers. March Day 7, Group F, Kenya versus Gambia on Friday, 5th September 2025 at 4 p.m. from Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani. Live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. Your true sports partner.
Praise the Lord. My name is Pastor Tim Mwangi, and I want to invite you for a life-changing, transformative show.
I was blinded and thrown to the floor on my knees, just like Saul.
Conversations. Gen Z ni nani? Boldness mnatoa wapi?
Kuna mentality fulani yenye inakujenga, si a rebellion really, but ni ya kuquestion system.
Engagements that are life-changing and provocative.
When you are young, your core business should be to create value in yourself.
Join me, DJ Andy C, bringing to you Kingdom Vibe, full of gospel bangers.
Join us for Angaza Show.
Every Saturday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Only on KBC Channel 1.
We are talking about a breath of fresh air. It matters to do with air pollution, given that the kind of numbers that the country has to grapple with in terms of deaths and also millions suffering from various respiratory diseases, all emanating from air pollution. And now, Jaffas, you know, we have laws, we have policies in place to regulate clean air, to bring the level of air pollution down. But when it comes to implementation, why do you think we fall short around that area?
I seriously think it's just, you know, either misplaced priorities or, you know, air pollution not just having, you know, the right place in terms of both national and county level priorities. If you look at, for example, nationally, at the national government level, where we have the National Environment Management Authority, there is a unit in charge of air quality management. In my own assessment, I think the unit is heavily understaffed and not able to cover the breadth and length of the Republic of Kenya. If you look at the counties as well, a few like Nairobi, you know, are really trying to do a lot of work over the past, you know, 3-4 years, putting in policies, air quality laws for Nairobi, air quality regulations and action plans. But that needs to be, you know, coupled with enforcement. So there is a bit of, you know, lack of capacity for enforcement, but also for the regulated community.
Yes.
If you're an industry, if you're a waste generator, waste management company, or you're a matatu operator, we do not know what is expected of us to comply. Meaning relevant authorities need to go out to the communities and tell them, in order to comply with the waste management policies, laws, regulations, this is what we expect you to do. If you do not know, you can't comply. So people need to know to be able to comply. And those then who cannot comply willfully, then enforcement action needs to be taken. But again, a lot of work is still needed, especially at the counties. If you look at the 4th schedule of the Constitution, air quality management is a shared function between the national government and the county governments.
Yes.
Currently, I think just less than 5 counties out of 47 have some policies and laws related to air quality management. So most counties still need to put in place these sort of policies. Yeah.
Jacob, who do you think should champion these efforts to ensure that at least the level of air pollution comes down as at now?
Yeah, I think for the planning process, I think it's very important that it's a collective effort. We can't say air pollution mitigation. It's a one of a thing activity. It's so one of the things that we are doing as Breathe Cities Initiative.
Yes.
We are working with the county government of Nairobi, the Clean Air Fund, the Air OQ, and other organizations like Muungano na Vijiji and SDI Kenya, to at least ensure that we also do mitigation around climate adaptation. So what we do is that we are training young people on how best they can address climate change, especially when it comes to bringing a circular economy on board. So when it comes to waste management, how do we ensure that young people do recycling of waste, and apart from recycling of waste, how do we ensure that we scale up the skills that they have? So through this training, we try and see how best can we engage more young people, because they are the ones affected, and they are the ones who have the future, the key to the future. So that's the reason as to why we are working very closely with young people, and also the women who are very vulnerable, because they are the ones who are at the forefront of supporting people within the informal settlement. And for us as an organization, I think as an organization, we take this as an opportunity to at least ensure that we do settlement profiling within the informal settlement, because it's also important to understand these settlements, what are some of the challenges they face, and from these challenges we now see how best can we address this issue. And I think we've been working very closely with the Nairobi County government, because they are the ones who are in charge of the compliance aspect and also ensuring that people comply to these laws. So we are also working with the county government to ensure that everything goes swift, and also we've been having series of engagement with the environmental officers within these informal settlements to at least ensure that they are also part and parcel of our engagement with the communities around. Yeah.
How would you say your efforts as an organization have made an impact when it comes to matters dealing with air pollution?
Yeah, like I said before, one, we are training young people on circular economy, on how best they can segregate waste at the household level. Then from the segregation, we are also training young people on how best they can convert this waste to compost, so that it can produce like farming produce, maybe like things like crops, like food crops. Then apart from that, we are also training young people on how best they can address these issues, like the black soldier fly. I think you know it. So about the black soldier fly is that the young people use the waste to at least ensure that they use the waste to at least feed the black soldier fly. Then this black soldier fly is used as a feed for chicken. So whenever you're getting the chick, is at least heavy and very nutritious to your body, and also to the rest of the groups. We are also trying to ensure that we also train them on how best they can at least segregate waste, and also when it comes to issues around policies around the waste management. So that's where the county come in under this Breathe City initiative.
So there is an economic opportunity within what you are doing.
Yes, because we are seeing this as an opportunity for young people to earn an income, because we just don't want young people to, okay, you just collect waste, then take it, then go back home, because we also want to address the social issues that are affecting people within the informal settlement. Things like crime, things like early pregnancy, things like HIV and AIDS prevalence within. We are also trying to see how best can we ensure that we generate money out of these initiatives. So if you see these initiatives are practical. If you go to Mukuru, you'll find these projects of the black soldier fly. If you go to Madari, you'll still find the same projects that are still ongoing. And I'm very happy to see young people like they're coming up to address this issue from where they understand, the way they understand. Because for us, we believe that when it comes to the planning process, it's important for people to be part and center of the planning. The people that are affected to be part and parcel of the planning process that is ongoing. So that's the reason as to why we are seeing this one as an opportunity to make young people more resilient to these effects.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jaffas, transport system within Kenya and even in Africa has been one of the contributors to air pollution. If you look at a city like Nairobi, and now that there is this aspect of electric vehicles, would that reform be one of the ways that we can reduce air pollution within the city? And how do you see the uptick of electric mobility coming along?
Thanks, Mike. So, yes, indeed, electric mobility is one of the many ways of tackling air pollution at Nairobi city level, nationally, if you may. And one of the things we at Environmental Compliance Institute are currently doing is we are working with the county government of Nairobi. We in partnership with the Clean Air Fund that is also working with the Jacob's team. And for our side, we are developing an air quality action plan that is covering the period 2025 to 2029.
Yes.
And we are looking at actions to reduce air pollution holistically. So we're not just looking at the transport sector. We're looking at all sectors that are responsible for emissions that pollute the city of Nairobi. So the waste management sector, so we are trying to deal with open burning of waste. Agriculture, you may be surprised. There's a lot of, urban agriculture happening in Nairobi, and some scale of, open burning of agricultural waste, as well as, emissions from poor manure management. There are emissions from industries in the industrial sector and issues around location of those industries. The transport sector, as you point out, is the most significant source of emissions in Nairobi, from use of fossil fuels. In this particular one, petrol and diesel, and especially diesel for the heavy-duty vehicles, for the public service transport vehicles, is responsible for what they call, particulate matter 2.5. It's, those particles in the emissions, the black soot that you see, that can, penetrate very deep into the lungs of humans when you breathe that, and is responsible for, respiratory diseases, lung cancers, and this sort of things. So electric mobility, indeed, is most welcome as one of, the fastest ways to accelerate action to reduce emissions within the transport sector. There is, of course, if you go down Nairobi, seems to be a lot of traction. We see a lot of the matatu circles currently now, working with companies like Basigo, Rome, and others, and we can see, a lot of these on the streets. I think other areas that perhaps are underestimated, but where we could make serious gains, is with the motorcycles.
Yes.
We have thousands and thousands of motorcycles used as public transport in our cities, including Nairobi. And those significantly contribute to air pollution in the city. I think the biggest reductions could arise from, transitioning all the motorcycles, or a large chunk of them, into electric motorcycles, and also the public transport, the matatus and the buses. If we can do, electric, the reductions will be high. Yeah.
And when it comes to electric mobility also, there's also the aspect of usage of lithium batteries. What can be done to ensure that once batteries are used, they have lived their duration, we do not have a dumping where we create another problem over another? How can that be dealt with?
So for that, I believe in terms of policy, law, regulation, I think something is already in place. Because at the end of their life, when that battery dies, essentially it is waste.
Yes.
Right? And it must be dealt with as waste. Now, at the national government level, through NEMA and the Ministry of Environment, they've enacted what they're calling the National Sustainable Waste Management Act, with matching regulations they're calling extended producer responsibility regulations. So what that means is, as a producer of these vehicles or motorcycles, or as an importer, you are responsible for the lifespan and the impacts, the environmental impacts of this equipment up to end of life, which means when the batteries then die, the producers or the people who imported these things should be responsible for their management. So that has just come into place, like I think a year ago.
Yes.
The expectation is there will be proper, implementation and enforcement frameworks for that. Again, as we said earlier, we have these very good policies and laws in place. It will be, absurd if 5-10 years from now, we now start suffering from, dumping of, all these dead batteries and all that, and the impact that they can have on on environment. Yeah.
You know, Jacob, this issue of air pollution and dealing with it has to start from somewhere. And as you said, it has to start with someone. So how can people, especially within Nairobi and other urban areas, start playing a role in ensuring that they reduce air pollution from wherever they are living or working?
Okay, so first of all, I'll start with what we've been doing. So from what we've been doing, we've been having like monitoring of the quality of air that is being experienced within this informal settlement. That is Mathare, Kibera, and Mukuru. So we've installed 50 monitors, air monitor in different areas. Then apart from 19 in different schools, so that we can also see what kind of air does our children breathe back while we take them back to school. And so from what you've said, I think the best way to talk about this, I think, is one, we need to also push more on awareness on air quality. Then apart from that, we also need to ensure that we at least generate green jobs. Yeah, because green jobs will be very important, and for bread cities we are looking at having like 30% transitioning by 2030. We are looking at how best can we ensure that the air emission is below 30%. So we are trying to see how best can we address this. Then on my end, I think it's also important to also push for more audit, and also trying to do data, because we say data inform action, and for our side we normally do series of data collection to at least understand the context of what air pollution means and how best can we address this air pollution. And we've been doing a series of data to just understand the kind of environment you are living, and also when it comes to climate change mitigation, how best can we address climate change. And I think there's also need for the implementation of the Paris Agreement, because the Paris Agreement is stating they are foreseeing like having a 30% reduction of emission by 2035. So how best can we address these? How best can we implement the Paris Agreement on our side? Yeah, so I think it's a collective effort for everyone to at least address this issue.
Yes. Jeffers, as we close, talk about event on Sunday, the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies.
Yeah, so the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies is basically, a day that is set aside globally and dedicated to basically call people, communities, nations, cities to action to reduce air pollution and therefore reduce incidences of sicknesses, save lives, and also protect the environment and the climate. And of course, for this year, there are activities lined up by the Nairobi County government with many partners, including the Breathe Cities initiative of the Clean Air Fund. And there are going to be public events on that particular day, including a procession in the city. And we would urge, communities and everyone to come out and be part of this event. We just create awareness around air pollution.
Indeed. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us here and talking about a very important issue of air pollution. That is Jaffas Opondo, who is the Executive Director of Environmental Compliance Institute, and also Jacob Omondi from Muungano wa Wanavijiji, representing community members who are vulnerable to air pollution. We end this conversation here. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Mark Migwe. Vivian Ndegwa is up next to continue with Entertainment Thursday. Stay with us.